All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Camera Culture, a series from Well FM that puts the diverse creators of the NFT photography movement into focus. I'm your host, Decryptolorian, and I have a very, very special guest today. His name is Mustafa Aydın. Mustafa is an astrophotographer from Turkey who's been practicing for the past 8 years. He comes from a family of photographers, which he is the third generation. He has studied physics engineering, space, astronomy, and so on. And he is one of the great NFT astrophotographers of our time, and a great guy to boot. Welcome, Mustafa.
Hey, DC, how are you? Good to see you again.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to have you on. Last time we had you on, you gave a course, but this time we have you for more of a chat because we want to learn more about you and your work. So I'm pretty excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you. And as you can see, I'm joining from my spaceship tonight.
Yes, exactly. You're in your spaceship. Now this is more realistic because you're always kind of going around the galaxy taking pictures of different stars and galaxies and all kinds of different things in space. And so this spaceship is more realistic for where you actually are. So I'm really glad that people get to see that.
Yeah, actually, this is Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. Star Wars fans will remember, of course. So yeah, I got it from them, so it's mine now.
Yeah. I was going to ask if you were the original owner, but it sounds like you picked it up in a scrapyard somewhere and have been repairing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. That's great. I'm glad that they sold that to you.
Yeah, I had to, I pushed them a little, but yeah, it's mine now. So we can go for a ride for some time when you're available.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to go into Lightspeed and see some of these amazing places that you keep taking pictures of.
Yeah.
Well, to get us started here, the first question I'd like to ask you is for people that don't know about you and your work, maybe you could explain a little bit about, I gave a brief introduction, but maybe you could explain a little bit about how you got into photography.
Okay, so I was born in 1974. That will explain my age, but I don't care. I don't mind. So I'm 48. And my father was a photographer, actually. And, literally, I was born into photography because in my first memories, being in a dark room with my dad, with my mom, uh, even with my brothers and sister, we used to because back then the photography was booming. Like I remember my dad used to go a wedding for a weekend, and they would print hundreds of photos, hundreds literally. So it was booming. It wasn't like this because nowadays everyone has a camera and stuff. Yeah, so that's how it started with photography. Of course, my first photography teacher was my father, and he was a really really meticulous person, and he was serious what he was doing. Um, I learned a lot from him, of course. But on the other hand, with the photography, I was always a space, aviation, and science geek since I was maybe 5, 6, 7. I don't remember really. So I was always doing stuff related to space, model aircrafts, lots of stuff like that. So at the end, I ended up studying physics engineering because physics is actually is father of most of the sciences, even the astrophysics, in Ankara. And in 1991, I came to Ankara, and I've been living in Ankara since then. And I have always been interested in astronomy, also including physics. And I have had telescopes and even with naked eye observations. And I'm not living far from one of the university's observatory here in Ankara. So I always did things about astronomy. But at some point, looking at, of course, it is good. I still do that. Looking through a telescope or watching night sky naked eye is not enough. You want to shoot those galaxies and post-process them. At the end, sooner or later, you go there. Like if you're a space enthusiast and if you're really enjoying those photos that you're seeing. And it is not like people will tell you that just go to Google and Google them, and you will see lots of them. It's not the same thing, because what we are doing is the whole experience, starting from buying and creating your rig, then shooting, learning everything about shooting, post-processing, and improving yourself all the time. That's why you need to do it. It's not like looking at pictures from NASA or pictures from other telescopes or pictures from other astrophotographers. You want to have the full experience. So that's why I started astrophotography. And I always say that, you cannot decide being astrophotographer and you cannot go and shoot astrophotography the next day. It needs some it needs some research and learning curve beforehand.
Wow. So you learned from your father, who had been who maybe learned from his father, right? Because you said you're third generation
No,
photographer.
actually, I'm not the third generation. My niece and nephews are the third generation.
Oh,
My
okay.
Yeah, my father first. I'm the second. My brothers and me. I have two brothers, and one of them is still going on with the studio with the same name from my father's, and the name is very original because the name is Yıldız, which means star in Turkish. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Wow. So my first question is, did your father get into astrophotography like you, or was he doing more like weddings and just landscapes and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, my father even hasn't seen me doing astrophotography, unfortunately. But of course, he knew that I was always interested in space and everything because I was a kid and uh, I was doing all the crazy stuff, even building rockets and model aircrafts and stuff. But yeah, my dad was more of a, he had a studio first of all, and of course he was doing weddings and studio photography.
Gotcha. So that's very interesting, and yeah. So your fascination with the stars, physics, science, and sci-fi led, and then you've had this experience with photography. It led you into this, I want to say highly complicated, highly specialized craft, which which you came on and talked about. And those of you who haven't seen that educational course, boy, you better go look at it, because there's a lot of information there. So it kind of fit you, really. So this type of photography fit you. Is that right?
Yes.
Man, that's awesome. I'm glad that you found your niche, because you really do a fantastic job capturing this stuff. And like you said, I think it's interesting. You can go and you can Google this stuff on, and see it for somebody else. But what you're really saying is you don't get the experience that one would get by doing it themselves and really capturing it themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's like I said, it is a full experience. You, you start with creating your equipment in the first place, because it's not like sold as a kit. You have to find your passion, what you're going to shoot. You're going for wider fields or deeper fields or both or whatever, like so. uh, you have to start from there, and then you have to start buying your equipment, your telescope or telescopes, your tracking mount, your cables, lots of softwares and stuff. And remember, you even leave haters, because you're shooting long hours and you don't want dew on your condensed on your glasses and stuff like that. So it is a full adventure of buying, like, and getting together and making them work perfectly, because there are lots of things that may go wrong, because there are lots of different elements in your rig. And then you learn, start shooting. uh, you learn about um, the objects that you are shooting, which filter you have to use, what kind of galaxy or nebula you are looking at. So all those things, you have to build something um, to start shooting. And then once you shoot, it's not finished, because it's not like, um, you cannot just put your images on Lightroom, and you cannot. Sorry, there is a. Um, I don't know if you can hear it.
A little bit, but those are that, when you're in a spaceship, sometimes things are whizzing by you as as you're flying
Yeah,
around. So
yeah. So it's a little distracting. I try to fly my ship when I have distracting things. Anyways, so yeah, you have to build lots of information, and it takes time. It's not like, um, you cannot collect all those information in a day or even a month, even a year. uh, and then once you shoot, it's not the end. Then you start uh, pre and post processing, because there is again a tedious process of calibrating your frames with the calibration frames to reduce noise, reduce vignetting, or uh, subtracting some dusts on your sensor and stuff like that. So, and then once you have your stacked image, then you have to go and post process them. And post processing is like, two parts. It's one part. The first part is more like scientific and engineering part. Then the second part is more artistic part. And I always say, as an artist and as a scientist, art and science are almost the same thing. You always have to keep your imagination on to create science and art. Remember what Einstein said: imagination is more important than knowledge. So if you cannot imagine, you cannot create, right? It's both valid for art and science.
man, I love that. And yeah, this is such an interesting blend of both worlds, and highly technical. So, um, you know, as you described your, your love and fascination of this type of craft. I mean, it definitely, this type of photography definitely suits you, and it's highly intricate. And I was personally surprised because I didn't know much about it before you gave that course, and learning all of the different, in the tedium and just everything that goes into it. It is quite something. And I think it's really cool. Even the fact that when you have your camera, and when you said the Earth was moving, and you have the camera rotating with the telescope, I think that is just so. I mean, I'm just gonna say it again. I think it's so cool because it's like a different thing. It's like this, like you said, it's this beautiful blend of science and art and technical stuff, and it's just really cool. And honestly, the stuff that you come up with is quite amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and um, but with that, I also have to say that I I have my own equipment, plus I have access to some remote access telescopes located, especially in that's my favorite telescope in Chile, Australia, and Spain. So for the ones who want to start astrophotography without investing anything, of course they'll have to pay something to those services, but at least they won't have to buy anything. That can be an option also. And those equipment are really high end equipments. You cannot. I mean, you can, of course, but it's a little bit expensive to buy on your own. So it is another option, and I really love those telescopes and the images that I create with those. Because the one in Chile, especially, it's in Atacama Desert, which is known for the biggest observatories on Earth. So yeah, that is another level of experience also.
And that is so cool. I wanted to ask you. So I'm going to put some of your work on the screen here.
Okay.
And I wanted to ask you how. So you've been doing this a while. Like you said, you came from a line of photographers, and you've kind of understand the photography side of things. And when did you first learn about NFTs?
Mm.
And what was the first thing you thought when you heard about them?
It was a year ago. Actually, it's almost my first year anniversary in NFTs. Actually, I minted first on OpenSea on um, what is it called? Not Ethereum, the other chain. I cannot remember it. Anyways, then I had to burn those two collections, and I started on Ethereum. So it was around September last year. When I heard, I was hearing NFT, and I was like, what is this NFT? And but I wasn't so interested because I was busy. I was so busy back then with my actual work, which I was a consultant, and I have my own company. And but at some point last year, May, I decided stopping my actual core business because I was so bored and I was so tired. And then I was teaching astrophotography and looking for other stuff. So and then I wasn't even into crypto at all, and my friends got me in it somehow. Uh, then all of a sudden I started NFTs. After of course some learning. So basically, it's been a year, and the first time I heard, it was maybe early last year, but I was not so interested. But then once I was looking for some new business ideas, then I was like, okay, let's go.
Wow. So it's been about a year, you'd say.
Yeah, it's been a year.
All right. So walk me through your most frustrating experience with NFTs so far, and also your most happiest.
Oh, it's a hard question. Yeah, like what they say in NFT space. You don't tell your frustrations so much because you always have to be positive, and you always have to pull yourself up. But of course, there has been moments that I felt frustrated, and it is, astrophotography is a hard genre. Um, it is hard. I mean, people don't understand what you're doing, and they don't understand what you're doing, what you're creating. Because when people look at this picture, for instance, they will say, "Oh my God, is this real? Or is this not real?" So, getting astrophotography, um, you know, getting astrophotography recognized was a little bit hard. I wouldn't say frustrating, but it was a bit hard. There has been moments that I was like, oh my God, am I gonna not do it? So yeah, that would be uh, my frustration thing, and still is not as recognized as some other genres, of course, because it doesn't have people like you know things that they can see on Earth, and they like the things that they are familiar with. Once you bring something like this, it's so abstract. Uh, Look at this galaxy. Of course, it means something to people in our age, that it is a galaxy, but still it's abstract, because they cannot see it by their own eyes. Even with a telescope, you cannot see it like this. That's why it doesn't, how to put, it doesn't resonate with most of the people. But once people start knowing what it is, what's going on there, and for instance, this galaxy, the light from this galaxy was, moving in space for 2.5 million years, they are like, oh my God, this is something cool. So you have to get that, you have to get people to that, oh my God, that this is cool point. So that's the hard part. And for the good part, after a while, if you do something over and over, and if you grind enough, then you start getting some results, and seeing that result, for instance, getting into maker's place, getting into whale creation, and things like that, getting one collection sold out gets you going, and you realize that your work is being recognized and your hard work is getting paid off. So that would be the good point, I think.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, I certainly understand, and I think you've done a fantastic job to explain what this is to people, especially like me who don't really never did understand all the work that goes into this and the equipment that you have to have, and it's highly specialized, and the software. But when I saw that on screen when you showed it, I instantly understood, like, this is quite something, to capture these moments, to capture these galaxies that have been here for millions of years. Our eyes would never see that, and it's almost like the wonder of being able to see that in any other time. I mean, going back years ago, we were never able to, and now that we're able to, it's really quite something. And making sure everyone knows how highly specialized it is. Yeah, I could see where it's frustrating, but I think you've done a fantastic job to explain it to folks. And I love that, your experience is you kept going, you kept grinding, and now you're starting to see it pay off. And I think the longer you're in the space, the more it will pay off, because it is quite special. And it's opening the eyes of a lot of people. So you've done a really good job to go on that that wagon train, I guess, and make sure everyone knows. So good job.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And the good thing is, the more you teach, the more you learn. Like I always love teaching, and it's not like, of course, I also learn lots of stuff every day from everyone, from people related to NFTs, from people related to astrophotography. We learn from each other every day. So that's the greatest part, actually, and it makes you grow bit by bit.
Yeah, and that growth is something that I love about the space. I really love it. So now that you've kind of been in it, for a while, walk me through, uh, your first sale. Like where did you sell? When did you sell? Your feelings, everything.
Okay. So, like I said, actually, it was around mid-September last year, my first real um, collection on OpenSea, and I named the collection Space Ape because back then, apes were so famous, and I was like thinking what to do, and I decided to make it Space Ape. Because I also had one image called Monkey Head Nebula, and it was the opening piece of the collection. Yeah, you can see it there. So yeah, that one, that's called Monkey Head Nebula. And actually, back then, it was not like this. We are in a bear market now, but it was quite fast. And in our astrophotography community, we had a drop party, and that night the collection was dropping. And then I went to bed, and in the morning when I woke up, I had a bid on one of my pieces, and I was like, "Oh my God, do I have to accept or shouldn't I accept?" Because these pieces were from zero point 0.2 Ethereum, and the offer was, I think, zero point 0.1 or 0.15 or something like that. But at the end, I decided not to accept. uh, Even though some of the friends said, like, go accept it, it will start, and you will promote the sales and stuff like that. But then I thought this will open the door for other collectors to offer instead of buying. So I didn't. And after, I think it was around 10 or 15 days, I got the first sale, and I was literally flying over the moon. So yeah, it was so brilliant, like everyone is craving for that email from OpenSea, or uh, whatever the marketplace is. So I was so happy. Then I started joining some Discord servers, making friends, even making other courses on other Discord servers, and it kept going on and on.
Wow, that's a fantastic experience. And and when you said you were literally over the moon, I mean, you probably were literally over the moon. in your spaceship at the time.
Yeah.
So uh, the question. So you've been in the traditional photography space for a while too, and how would you say that it differs from the NFT space?
Oh, well, for me, uh, actually, people are like um, discriminating the um, Web 2 and Web 3, let's say, a lot. But in even before NFT space, we had a very, how can I put, a very helping and very supportive photography environment, because astrophotographers are not like, even in Turkey has like 84 million inhabitants, and we are like not more than 100. So we used to help each other a lot. We teach and learn from each other a lot. So in that sense, I cannot say that it changed a lot. But of course, before I started astrophotography, I was doing other types of photography also, but it was many years ago. In astrophotography, we were in a very closed environment full of astrophotographers from Turkey and from other countries. So uh, I wasn't really seeing other genres of photography, and I wasn't meeting many artists from different genres and different uh, countries. So that should be uh, the radical change with starting with NFT in my life. I started meeting lots of photographers all over the world from different disciplines and different genres. So it really made me even richer in um, approaching the art and everything, because as recently we made uh, a bundle with other two artists, and before that we had Artists United Together collective. So you know you learn a lot from other people, and that would be the most prominent change between before NFT and after NFT for me.
Wow, that's yeah, that's awesome. That's a very, very good answer. And you've I mean, you've been a great part of the community since you've joined, and you've met a lot of friends. How important do you think community is when you're trying to make it as an artist in the space?
It really is important, because I know I've been doing that, or my friends have been doing that. uh, there are times that you're tired, or there are times that you have idle stuff that you need to leave the space for a while. But even though you leave the space, your friends, your community will not leave you. So they will be there, and they will be tweeting your photos. They will be uh, you know they will be remembering you, and as soon as you're back, uh, it's not like you never left. On the other hand, of course, this is one side of it, but during the day, of course, you need people uh, to learn and to create, and to pull you up, or sometimes you pull them up. So it is so important to have some great friends around you, because like I said, there has been times that I was down, and my friends were there for me, and so I, I don't know how to put, but I find community very important, and it is really time consuming when you're this arguing with people, or fighting with people, instead of making good connections and creating great relationships, which is more comfortable and a lot easier for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to highlight, I actually put it up on the screen, that
Yeah.
one of the drops you did recently with some amazing photographers, the Dragons drop, which was one of my favorites. I'm a proud owner of one of the editions, and maybe you could tell us about how that came together. And then I want to ask you about something brand new as of today that you've been doing.
All right. Yeah. So we have this DM group for Artists United, and Arman and also Katie and Houston are there. So I was working on this one, and this one is called Fighting Dragons of Aura. So you can actually see two dragon claws engaging a fight. And there is actually something else here in this picture called Dragon Egg Nebula. So it is all about dragons. And people have been doing editions for so long, and I actually had done one editions even when people wasn't doing editions February this year, and it was sold out, and it was for Valentine's Day. But I was thinking doing the second one, and I was working on this one, and I really love it because it's this type of this is a wide field deep space astrophotography. So you can see the texture of the space. It's not like space is pitch black. There are lots of stuff out there, and this is actually star forming region. And when there are young stars, there's lots of radiation and there's lots of stellar winds, and they shape lots of beautiful stuff and create this beautiful nebula. And someone with a huge imagination came up and named it Fighting Dragons of Aura. So I posted this one on the DM group, and Arman was working also on something for an edition, and it was also related to dragons somewhere in French Alps. And after a while, I received a DM from Arman, and he was like, "Bro, shall we do it together? I saw that you're working on something related to dragons, and I'm doing the same. Don't feel obliged, but I had this idea." But actually, when Arman sent that picture, and when I saw his story about dragon, I was thinking absolutely the same thing. And only after 10 or 15 minutes, Arman was DMing me, "Let's do it together." And I was like, "Of course, let's do it together." But he was saying that, he was going to go to these workshops, and it was going to take a month for him to come back. And he was like, "Please don't feel obliged. If you want to do it now, don't wait for me." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to wait for you, Arman. Let's do it because it's going to be a lot more fun." And Arman went to his workshops and came back, and we started discussing what to do, about the images and stuff. And all of a sudden, one day I was talking to Katie, Houston's mother, and she was helping us a lot for our descriptions and stuff. And not only that, she's been a great friend, even sometimes, when we are sick, advising stuff, do this, do that, eat this, go to doctor and stuff like that. So it's a real friendship. And I was like, "Hey, Katie, what do you think Houston would like to join us for the Dragons drop?" And she was like, "Oh my God, of course." And she was like, "I was even thinking some some of the photos from him in Yellowstone National Park looked like very dragon stuff. And we were like, okay, upload those photos and we will have a look. And of course, Arman didn't even think once when I told him that I invited Houston and Kate to join us. And it started from there. And then we started, brainstorming new ideas, that one booklets and POAPs and everything, thanks to you for the POAPs, actually, because I got to know the POAPs with you and real community. So I think we created something very unique and with lots of firsts.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And yeah, the POAP you did was fantastic. And then of course, doing the POAP afterwards for the collectors of it, what a great idea. And
That was your idea.
and honestly, the booklet that was put together about everyone, I think more people should do that. And I don't have it up right now, but it is a fantastic thing.
Actually, you can find it easily in my website.
On your website, okay.
Yeah, I use Mustafa. Yeah, it's over there, I think.
Right here.
Yeah. So yeah, NFT. Then Dragon's Drop over there. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yes.
No, not there. Scroll down. Yeah, that's there is, yeah, PDF version.
So this is something that was put together with the drop, of course, and we talked about the different artists involved, being Houston and Armand. This is Houston's piece, and we saw Armand's earlier, and then of course you have Mustafa's. But this is a fantastic something that you did recently, gave it away to one of the collectors in the series, and I think that is something that's really unique and something special for one of the collectors, and has a bunch of information about the three photographers here. And it's great. It's fantastic. I love it. It really does. It's that extra touch that, in attention to detail that I think a lot of people really love. So fantastic idea.
Yeah, we I shouldn't forget to thank Houston's sister, Katie's daughter, to design this book. She has done an amazing job creating this book. So we are extremely thankful to her also.
Absolutely, and it's just in time for the House of the Dragon that just premiered on HBO. So it made a lot of sense. But I wanted to ask you about something that's really exciting. So I heard that you had just been accepted to Super Rare, and today I think was the first drop that you have, right, on Super Rare.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it up right here, and it looks like, wow. I mean, for this being your first drop, and just getting started on Super Rare, that's awesome. Wait. Okay. But there's been a lot of looks at it, so maybe you could tell us about the star cluster. This is awesome.
Oh yeah, this is a special star cluster actually. This is from Carina Nebula. Carina Nebula is can only be seen in the southern hemisphere, and it is the largest and the brightest nebula in the night sky. You can actually see it by naked eye. I never got the chance to see it because I've never been to southern hemisphere yet. This is again from the telescope from Chile, and this has nearly 15 hours of data collected. And what is interesting with this one is actually this was one of the 4 images which was shown by James Webb Space Telescope back in July last month. Actually, it's been a month, because actually Hubble Space Telescope also looked at this particular piece of sky, and James Webb did the same thing just to compare the images. And so yeah, that's why I wanted to go on with this actually. And of course, I shouldn't forget his name. Alpha Trilogy helped me creating this piece, because I was going to go with different pieces, and he came. I actually, asked his idea, and he gave me some alpha, and changed my mind, and changed my mind and dropped this. And scientific part, it's a star cluster, and there are lots of it's a star forming region. So to have a star forming region, you need to have lots of hydrogen gas actually, and there are lots of hydrogen gas here. That hydrogen gas get together with the gravity, and then they have huge amount of hydrogen all together as a ball. When the temperature and the pressure is high enough, then the fusion reaction starts, and there you have it. You have a star. And once you have young stars and cluster of young stars, there are lots of UV radiation, and of course there are stellar winds. Um, and when there is UV radiation, the gas and material around is ionizes with the with that UV radiation. And when hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, and other elements or molecules ionizes, they emit light in different colors, and then you have this beautiful view in front of your eyes. And the ream-like structure on the right-hand side of this image is caused by those stellar winds. So it's a very special piece of sky, and as it was getting famous again with the James Webb Space Telescope, it was one of my best pieces recently. So, and this was also one of the pieces that I submitted to Super Rare with my application. So that's why I wanted to go with this one.
Wow, that's awesome, and yeah, definitely a good choice. And you said something about how abstract these are, and of course, I love abstract art, and also just knowing the details about the science behind it. But what I see here is actually a face, a nose here, and a mouth down here.
Yeah.
I love how that's forming here. Um, quite interesting. Of course, human beings like to see humans and things.
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
but yeah, what a great selection, and congratulations on getting selected into Super Rare. And this is fantastic, and I really do hope that this sells quickly for you, because this is a monumental time in your NFT career. This is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you very much, DC. I really appreciate for your kind words. Yeah, let's fingers crossed. And I just checked because I couldn't see the number of people who viewed it, and I checked it in another tab, and it's 31. It's quite a number.
That's pretty good. I've put art on in the past, and like on OpenSea, and maybe I'll get like 2 views on it, and then so 31 when you just listed it. That's quite fantastic. I'm really excited for you.
Thank you, thank you. Me
This
too.
is this is so
Really, really
great.
excited.
Oh man, I did want to talk about the POAP we have for today. We have about 10 minutes left on our interview here, but for those of you listening, we already grabbed the Poe app because we needed to test it out.
It
You know,
works.
when you're traveling space and, you know, your connection is a little bit iffy sometimes with all of these galaxies and whatnot, you know, you have to test these things out. So if you do have the, look at, this is fun. This is some of the chat that we have going on YouTube. This is fantastic. Yeah, we do have the Poe app going. So if you do have the Poe app, please open it up and head over to the secret word section. So you have to have it on your phone. Unfortunately, the secret word doesn't work on computer. So on your phone, open that sucker up, and then you're going to type spaceman. It's all one word, spaceman. I do feel like I don't know if you've ever played bingo, but sometimes I feel like I'm a bingo announcer when I'm talking about the secret word, which is spaceman. But I hope you grab that Poe app because it is a beautiful picture that that Mustafa gave us, and what a fantastic Poe app to go with this interview that we've had so far. Um, yeah, just just looking at some of the. Okay, good. It looks like the Poe app is working. Fantastic. We don't have anybody upset, so that that's good. That's good. So before we go, Mustafa, I did have a question for you. So, you know, you've been you're on Maker's Place, you're on Foundation, you're on Super Rare, you're also on OpenSea a little bit as well, and you're really got into the space and you're doing a lot of things, and you haven't been here that long, and it's really been fantastic to see you grow in this career. And so, for those who are just getting started, who haven't experienced this for themselves, what advice would you give them? Maybe just starting out, or you know, maybe they've minted their first few items and they're just trying to get their feet in the door. What would you give them for advice?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually, DC. You know, my first advice would be genuine and be sincere. You know, like make friends, not for sales. You know, maybe one day NFT will go, but you will have your friends all over the world. I have friends all over the world now. So, uh, like I said, be sincere, create people, make friends, and learn and teach. Learn things that you don't know and teach things you know, and that's the only way to grow. And you cannot grow on your own. You have to share. You have to share things with others, and the rest will come by itself. Really, I mean, uh, you will see. You will see. Like, that would be my advice. Uh, be nice and kind to everybody.
That is some fantastic advice. You know, getting involved, making friends, being nice, being kind. Not only in the NFT space, that will help you in the real world. So yeah, I think that's fantastic advice, and honestly, should be following that.
Yeah, yeah, all of us should do that. Even if we have times that we are mad at some people, mad at things, we have to remember that. You know, we don't see each other all day, and everyone has their own 24 hours with lots of IRL stuff, lots of other stuff. They have families, they have problems, they have beautiful moments, they have bad moments. Just think of a day of yours. People have their days. So knowing and imagining these things, it's good to be kind to everybody, and don't judge people so quickly, I would say.
I love it. I love it. And so before we go, I have a special surprise.
Oh, what's that?
So before we got together, I went into Mid Journey, that AI program, and I typed
Oh,
in some keywords, which was spaceman flying in a spaceship, uh, taking pictures of galaxies,
oh,
and this is the art I came up with.
wow. Oh my God, that's me.
That is totally you. So I wanted to surprise you with that. And if you want a copy of this, I will mint it for you and then send it your way.
Oh my God, that I would love that. Thanks, DC. That's so kind of you. Really, you made my day. Really, that's beautiful.
Man,
Wow.
that's yeah. I think it came out pretty good. I was, you always hope that it captures exactly what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And
Was it?
I wanted like a camera in there, but this
Oh,
came out pretty good, so I'm happy with it.
that is fantastic. It looks so good. Yeah. So if it is close to what you were imagining, it's still fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll package it up for you and send it your way.
Thank you very much, DC. Thanks. That's so kind of you.
Well, this has been a fantastic talk. We've learned so much about you. It is, I mean, you're a great guy, Mustafa. It's so fun to talk with you. If like I said, if you haven't seen Mustafa's work, please follow him on Twitter. We'll put the links in our show. Obviously, he's on Foundation and Maker's Place and Super Rare now, so you could find his work. He has a link tree. Um, and honestly, there's tons of information about astrophotography that he's actually done. So please, and we have it on our YouTube. So go look. But lots of information there. So please follow him and go check out those videos. Fantastic stuff, and obviously the work too. Hoping you get an offer on this wonderful new NFT that you put out. And any final words for us before we take off?
Yeah, thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure knowing you for months, and meeting lots of friends in Wales community. That's so fantastic. And like you said, in my website, even in my pieces, if you scroll down, you will see a very long description. And even reading these descriptions, you can learn stuff. I learned lots of stuff writing these descriptions. Uh, so even I try to make my descriptions educative, so people would learn, and I also would learn some stuff when preparing these things. And I cannot thank you enough, DC, for being you, and for being my friend, and for things that you contributed in my NFT journey, and of course the other friends in Wales community and other communities. It's been an amazing journey, and it is just starting, I think.
Absolutely, it is, and it's been my pleasure to meet you and learn about what you do and all of this. Hopefully, one day we could sit down and watch Star Wars together on the Millennium Falcon,
Yeah,
and have a good time, and then maybe go out and look at the stars.
yeah, that would be fantastic. Like I would love to do that. That's Maybe one last thing. Of course, there has been times that I went shooting on my own, but it is the best when you have friends with you. Because when you it's like when you don't share a good food with your friends, you have the same feeling. If I don't share this beautiful night sky with a friend or friends, it doesn't feel the same when you're alone.
It's very true. It's very true. And man, that's good advice for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been fantastic. Thanks everybody for coming and watching. It's always fun having camera culture. And again, please follow Mustafa. Fantastic stuff here, and it's out of this world, as I say. Um, so yeah, we'll see everybody next time, and thanks for coming. Bye, everybody.
Bye.